ask her to help me out today and tell you folks out there her story. Also, I wanted to remind all you folks that are watching this on the internet, below this video, you see right down here is the navigation bar area. All of the different conditions, diseases, problems that people have are down here. And what this stuff here, right here, will help you with, all right, and support you. So it's right down here's the navigation bar. Go down to it, put your cursor on there, arrow, whatever, click on it, give it a minute to upload, you'll get a video. And below that video is all kinds of interesting editorial and links to other hospital sites, other physician sites, other university sites to back up what the claims they're making are. Now, I asked my wife to come on here because here's a picture of her back in 2005, was it you had the surgery?
Correct.
Okay, 2000, take a look at this, folks. How much did you weigh in that picture with Noah?
254.
254 pounds. What do you weigh today?
132.
Okay, so I'm not going to sit here. A lot of these products that you see out in front of you right now, all this right here, are in here. What we have is a pure in here. These here, you never know when you're buying from a drugstore, from any kind of place online, whether or not you really get the real deal or if you're getting battery acid. So the truth of the matter is, this all comes through the same identical company that makes Hopkins products for people who are on the Hopkins diet to avoid dialysis. And that's one thing, quite frankly, that got my wife on to this product. She won't take anything. If I say something is black, she'll say it's white. So having said that and gotten that point across, sure, a lot of you guys out there go through the same thing. I want you to tell the folks what your why you got on this stuff. Start with the operation.
Well, I had gastric bypass surgery in 2005. You go through quite a bit of education. They have support groups that tell you what you need to do. You have to be sent to a nutritionist that tells you that you must take all of the different vitamin supplements because your body will no longer absorb the when you eat.
Basically, I think what my wife is trying to explain is the fact that she cannot get, and people who have gastric bypass procedures, I don't care which kind it is, she got the permanent irreversible kind. But all the other folks out there, or anybody that gets it, they cannot obtain the necessary enzymes, nutrition, vitamins from regular diet food, not diet food, just regular eating, because they can't eat enough. That leads us to another thing. After the age of 25 years old, for all the studying I've done on this, and it's all throughout, all below me, all these different universities will tell you the same thing, that after the age, right around 25, give or take a couple months, we lose, as human beings, we lose the ability to absorb the amount of nutrition. Now, we can get fat, which most of us do, because we're trying to eat because we're hungry and we're addicted to food. That's really what it all boils down to. We're addicted to food. You can be addicted to caffeine, you can be addicted to sugar, but everybody in the United States of America is addicted to food. Now, even though you eat a house full of food and you weigh 700 pounds, you're still not going to get enough of the enzymes and the vitamins that you get, and that's why you need supplements, and they do it at home, right?
Correct.
Did it work?
No.
Okay, tell them what was happening.
I started losing my hair, my nails. My nails started to, I couldn't keep a fingernail. My nails were like paper thin.
Yeah.
I was literally deteriorating inside of my body.
And she was deteriorating fast. She was losing the weight, that's what she wanted to do, but everything else was going downhill with it. What other symptoms did you have? Did you have a lot of energy? Were you depressed?
No,
I know that you were taking depression pills for a while.
I was very depressed. I had absolutely no energy. It took me forever to try to get out of the bed. My bones ached. It was, if I tried to eat some kind of food, it was like, it wouldn't, I need to get, I would vomit.
So, and all this time, folks, my wife just would not listen to me. I said, you know, Dr. Mackenzie Walter, I did a documentary on how to avoid dialysis, and he was the man that taught me all about nutrition just in our interviews and our private conversations. It's incredible. I never knew any of this stuff. The disease is called sarcopenia. After 25, our biological clocks kick into gear, and they start literally getting us ready for death, and that's what it is. You know, if you want to live longer, you want to live happier, you want to live healthier, and you want to feel at 60 the way you felt at 30, you got to get on to the Powermean formula or the Keep Us Young solution, which is what my wife takes now. In your particular case, you got on it. How long was it before things started, you know, turning around for you, physically, hair-wise, all that?
I started to see a difference probably within, I'd say, within a week, maybe 2 weeks. My hair started getting fuller. I could see that my nails were growing. I was like, before I had this, I was in the bed all day, and I just realized, hey, I don't need sleep anymore as much.
Believe it or not, folks, I go shopping or clothing shopping with my wife because she respects my taste up to a certain extent. And she would not buy dresses like this because her arms were nothing but flab. She is getting lean muscle synthesis. Now, she's not muscular. She's not building muscles. She's building lean muscle, which tightens all this stuff up, pulls all this stuff in. My wife is 46 years old. She cannot work out because you have, what is the disease?
Osteopenia. Which
turns into osteoporosis. Here's a picture of that. I'm going to put that on the screen. See all the little holes that are in the bones, and you've probably heard of osteoporosis many times. And because of that, my wife, you needed surgery, right?
Well, I wound up having to have surgical fusion done in my neck.
You were hurt somewhere. You were injured, and because of the osteoporosis, because of the injury, you needed surgery.
Correct. And I wound up having cervical surgery. You can see the scar on my neck.
I can't see that.
And, well, I'm sorry. I can see it.
Yeah.
But I had cervical surgery. After surgery, they told me recuperating time would take me about 8 weeks to 10 weeks. So plan on being out of work for about 12 weeks. So that's what I planned on doing. So I went back to the doctor, and my second week, you have to come back in 2 weeks. He had me a prescription, get an X-ray first thing in the morning, and then come bring your X-ray and your films to me so I can see if, in fact, what he did was he took bone marrow out of my hip and fused the bone marrow into my neck.
And they weren't sure whether or not that was going to take, right, because of the osteopenia.
Right. And the fact that osteopenia, they said they were worried about the fact that the bone marrow would even start growing and connecting. They were worried about it even doing it in 12 weeks.
And what happened?
Well, the morning I got my X-ray, I went into the doctor. He looked at the X-ray, and he called in his PA, which is his physician assistant, and wanted her to see if he was seeing something wrong. Then he took me into another room so we could put the films up to it. He thought something was wrong. He thought something was on the film that shouldn't be there because the bone had grown and reconnected.
A lot of professional sports teams, orthopedic surgeons are using this now because of its recuperative properties. It's amazing. Now, I know a lot of you folks probably heard about during the NFL when the Baltimore Ravens won. The Ray Lewis, who was injured and supposed to be completely out for the season, Terrell Suggs, were accused of taking deer antler, a banned substance. Well, basically what these guys did was they took large doses of amino acid, which is not banned. But the result is the same. All a deer antler is, folks, is protein. Think about it. A reindeer loses its antlers every year, and it grows back bigger within 12 months, and then they'll lose it again. So this is a process. Now, what makes this deer antler grow is what you got right here: amino acids. Amino acids are your building blocks of your entire body. Every part of your body has water and amino acids in it. And what's the biggest organ again? Here's your first quiz. What's the biggest organ that a person has?
The skin.
Their skin. Most people never get that. You know, I knew you would get it. But so your doctor looked at you. Your bone, all this stuff was recuperating faster, and in the meantime, you were still tell the folks that during all of these procedures and the depression, and once you got on this stuff, this is incredible, folks. Now, all of this, what is in this product right here? Let me just take a brief second here. Is everything that you see here. Let me run through this list of stuff that is in 1 tablespoon of this, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to mix. All right. Now I'm going to tell you up front. This stuff, all of this stuff here, and its normal state, it's not the way it normally comes to people, is the worst tasting stuff you have ever experienced. You can't get it down. It's that bad. Now, if any of you ever tried the WHEY, whey, muscle drinks, stuff like that, they taste like chalk in your mouth. This doesn't taste like that. Am I right or wrong? You wouldn't even take it.
You're right.
My son's on it, Nolan, and it's amazing what it's done for him. And he's very particular. His taste buds are very particular. Mine, I can eat cardboard with mayonnaise on it, and I think it's delicious. But these two, I had a hard time convincing just to try it. Here, just try it a little bit. Just try it a little bit. Finally, I said, well, that tastes pretty good. Well, basically, this stuff was terrible. That's why they give it to you in pill form, so you can get it past the teeth, past the tongue, look out belly, and here it comes. And at that point in time, I know some of you folks out there have taken fish oil tablets and burped 2 hours later, and you tasted the fish. You don't never ever experience any of that. This stuff is absolutely certifiably delicious. And we had Nabisco, flavor expert, did this years ago for Mackenzie Walzer, Dr. Mackenzie Walzer, who at that time was running the clinical trials on how to avoid dialysis. Here's the big deal, folks. Half of America has diabetes too now. Half of America. What causes renal failure? Ask any doctor in the world. One of 2 reasons. Diabetes, which also most of the time brings you hypertension, meaning high blood pressure. Those 2 things are what put you into renal failure, and then you're on one of these things. And I'm right there, you know, you can see that you don't want to get on one of those machines. You got an artificial kidney. And it is an epidemic. That and sarcopenia are an epidemic portions now. Now, let me show you what is in this stuff here. You have 9 essential amino acids in there. 9 essential, 3.2 grams. This is not your mother's, your grandmother's multivitamin. If you look at a multivitamin, what does it say? International units, right?
Correct.
What is an international unit? It ain't a lot, I can tell you that. This is grams and milligrams. Everything that's in here is measured in grams and milligrams. The 9 essential, 3.2 grams per tablespoon per scoop, has 3.2 grams of essential amino acids. It has the miracle drug, the miracle amino acid, L-arginine, which in turn activates the miracle molecule, what is referred to as nitric oxide. That does amazing things in the body. Just go down below here and look for L-arginine or Dr. Murad. He won a Nobel Prize, and 2 other doctors, heart surgeons, won Nobel Prizes for discovering that L-arginine threw nitric oxide into high gear, which did amazing things up to and including reversing the aging process. This has L-carnosine in it, 500 milligrams, not international units, 500 milligrams. And what this does is it helps the connectivity of the neurons that have broken apart. In your brain, you want all those neurons and little doodads, whatever they're called, hooked together like this so they have a connection. Same way with electrical wire. You break an electrical wire, your lights go out, or whatever you're powering that wire with. So L-carnosine is the food, is the nutrition for the brain, and you'll notice that you won't get any brain fog. Your brain fog will disappear. They have clinical trials on this on people with autism, autistic people, and with people with dementia that have dementia or heading for dementia, and what is the other thing? Alzheimer's. These are all kind of clinical trials being all over, and by the way, they're finding that they're having a great deal of success with this. I know it's helped me. And I'm getting to the point where what my wife did when she got on this, how she got motivated to do an incredible feat. L-carnitine, 500 milligrams of L-carnitine are in this stuff. In this 1 tablespoon, 500 milligrams. Now, the L-carnitine is what helps muscle builders love L-carnitine. They love it. I recently, once I'm on the Jumpstart program with this, and that's what it's called, Jumpstart. If you go through this thing, you will see different packages and different solutions. I stayed on the Jumpstart because it was doing so much good for me. You don't have to. Now, recently I had my blood work done, and they said, look, you know, what are you doing? Why do you have all this protein in you? And I explained to them. So I took I was taking this 3 times a day. I wouldn't drink anything but this and coffee. So now I'm taking it every other day, because if you got too much protein, you're just wasting your money. So I'm to the point now where I can take it every other day. I'm 65 years old. I do not work out. I'm still nice and firm all over. I don't, you know, I weigh 220 pounds now, 217, 220. So it tightens everything up. Now, I would like to have one of these tickets done, you know, where there's lifestyle lifts to get rid of some of this. You know, I got more chin sometimes than a Chinese phone book. But having said that, getting back to this stuff, this also has, this right here in 1 tablespoon has L-citrulline, and that works in conjunction with the L-arginine. Now you got that motor revving. You know, you got the high-test gasoline, and you got the little push button on there that you button when you're in the speed button, you want to go faster, and hits, and actually what it does is a nitric oxide button. It also has 50 milligrams of niacin. You got to be careful with niacin, folks, because a lot of people take 500, they'll get hot flashes, it's just too much. You only need 50 milligrams of this, if every day, every other day, and basically it goes through your veins like Roto-Rooter, like the little Pac-Man thing on the computer that went through and eats up everything. It starts breaking down the plaque. It breaks down the bad things inside your veins and cleans them out. Go down here and look up Dr. Sinatra. Look up what Diane Sawyer did on Dateline, finding out that people, and I'm probably going to get really sued about this, people were actually losing their brain cognizance up here. They were suffering from brain memory loss. They were getting the initial stages of dementia.
They had all the symptoms of someone having dementia and or Alzheimer's within a very short period of time.
And what we're talking about is cholesterol medicine. And the one lady we had the video on it with Diane Sawyer, and one doctor taking up for the pharmaceutical companies.
We sacrifice our own families on the altar of these medical doctors. And Dr. Blaylock is a medical doctor. I'm not going to go through his giant bio. Read it at BlaylockReport.com. But I wanted to get you on, sir, to talk about this issue, because now we've got brain disorders, as you know, exploding. You got people at 30 years old getting Alzheimer-type diseases, Guillain-Barré exploding, people having epilepsy exploding, narcolepsy exploding. The media admits linked to vaccines. But you define and written some of the most prestigious papers decades ago that are now mainline science on chronic brain inflammation. So let's start with the statin drugs and Alzheimer's, Dr. Blaylock.
Thank you, Alex. Good introduction. The statin drugs have been known to be troublemakers from the very beginning when they were first manufactured almost 20 years ago. Now, the promise was that when this was our major weapon against heart disease, it was just so impressive, we were going to slash heart disease. Well, 20 years later, the incidence of death from heart disease has not changed at all, or very low. If what they were telling as propaganda, and it's pure propaganda, not medical science, was true, it should have slipped to at least third or fourth in the incidence of death.
So, doctor, that means it's gotten worse, because about half the people that were smokers since then are not smokers, and that's
Yeah, so it was a lie from the very beginning. Well, then when the statisticians started looking at what they were quoting in their advertising, which they advertise in every TV program and popular magazine, when they started looking at statistics, they said, well, you know, these are doctored statistics. That literally they're true, but when you look at the actual reduction in heart attacks, it's no more than 1 or 2%. But because they manipulate the numbers, which you know I show in my newsletter, it comes out 30%, 36% reduction in heart attacks.
But is it the 1 or 2 because there's been a massive reduction in cigarette smoking?
Well, yeah, that's played a big role, and people are more often exercising and changing their diet. But they leave that out of these statistics. You know, they're just taking the raw statistics. Well, you read the major papers that they constantly quote, they leave out things in the conclusion of the paper. And we're seeing this more and more, is that the conclusion of the paper does not match the data that's in the paper. Well, most practicing physicians do not read the data in a scientific paper. They read the introduction and they read the conclusion. A lot just read the abstract. Well, if you read the paper, for instance, one of the often quoted papers said that there was increased death from brain hemorrhages. That is never even mentioned in the conclusion of the article. Well, I think that's kind of important. Well, there's a research article in which looked and reviewed virtually every paper written about statin drugs since its inception to see what is the complications associated with it, what is the rates of complications, and the seriousness. Well, I reviewed this in one of my newsletters and went through all of them. Well, the list is so long, it's unbelievable. But we have things that vary from muscle weakness, muscle pain, death from a condition that destroys the muscle, including heart muscle, paralysis where they can't even get out of bed, to increased incidence of ALS, which is considered 100% fatal disease. And the effect on the brain and the heart were the two that were really stand out because they're so common. The incidence of heart failure since the introduction of statin drugs has just grown astronomically. Well, a physician looked at this, reviewed the data, and demonstrated that this was because of the statin drugs. Well, the heart is very energy dependent because it's always beating. It never really rests. And it requires high levels of coenzyme Q10 for its energy. Well, the process, the enzyme that produces coenzyme Q10, is also the one that produces cholesterol. This drug blocks that enzyme, so it's not only blocking the production of cholesterol, but also coenzyme Q10. That means the heart now is deprived of its major energy molecule, and so it explains why we're seeing this virtual explosion of heart failure. And it's occurring at an earlier age than
And now they're talking about putting statins in water for 3-year-olds and up.
Oh, yeah. Well, you see, they were talking before that, before the water episode, they were telling the pediatricians, you need to start doing lipid studies on all children. And if they have elevated cholesterol, try the diet first, but if their cholesterol doesn't correct, then they should be put on statins for a lifetime.
Unbelievable.
Well, one of the secrets of statins, I wrote about this for years, that the only reason there's any effect of the statins at all is because it's a powerful immune suppressant and it's anti-inflammatory. It has nothing to do with lowering cholesterol. Now they're starting to admit that, even the mainstream journals, because the evidence was just so overwhelming.
I'm not saying go run and throw all your stuff away. I'm saying look at this stuff, and quite frankly, you be the judge. You be the judge. You ask your doctor, and my doctor said, well, it has this bad effect, but it has this good effect. So I say, okay, so we're going to have I'm going to be the healthiest guy in the old age home that doesn't even know who he is or who any of his friends are or his family is. I've decided for myself, no more simvastatin, no more of these cholesterol drugs, and my cholesterol is perfect by taking 50 milligrams of niacin a day in this concoction. So I don't feel like taking all these pills every day, so I don't. I take this. Now, this also has DHEA in it. this does things. This is all. It's already in your body, but you don't have enough of it after you get past the age of 25. You take that, and it's almost like taking Viagra. All right. The other thing is that the L-arginine, the niacin, all Viagra does is gets the blood rushing to a certain area of a male's body, and then great things happen. So basically, you can do that naturally. Great things for guys, and I didn't say for you. The arginine, the carnitine, the niacin, and the DHEA make things, really rock and roll. Now, also we put magnesium. There's magnesium in this stuff now. Now this is Paramine Plus. This is not what they give you if you're doing the Hopkins trial. It's in here. The 9 essential amino acids is all they give you during the Hopkins how to avoid dialysis clinical trials. So when talking with Walser, the late Dr. Walser, and talking with different chemists and different people from different universities and interviewing them for television, we started adding their products to this thing, and that's how it came up with the name of Paramine Plus. So we added all this stuff together because none of it worked, it didn't have any side effects to take all of it, and a lot of these things worked in conjunction with each other. For instance, you heard the old song, the hip bone's connected to the thigh bone, the thigh bone's connected to the knee bone, so on and so forth. Well, all of these things work in harmony with each other.
It's called human growth hormone, HGH, and it's the potent compound produced in the pea-sized pituitary gland at the base of your brain. You need HGH to grow into adulthood, but it is also essential to keep your organs healthy, your muscles strong, and your energy up. Some doctors see it as the key to finding the fountain of youth. But ironically, as you age, your natural production of HGH actually drops. So researchers developed a synthetic version to stave off the aging process. But now, there's a new frontier, stimulating your body's production of growth hormones naturally with amino acids. A recent study showed patients given a special blend of amino acids saw their HGH levels spike more than 6 times the levels they had at the beginning of the study. According to the researchers, the result was faster metabolism and an increase in endurance. So are amino acids the secret to boost your HGH, renew your energy, and recharge your body?
We've done shows on HGH. It's controversial. I know a lot of folks in Hollywood use it. That always makes me a little wary, I gotta say, when a lot of stars are using it and stuff. Why do you say HGH? What has it done for you? Well,
I do my research. I don't just because the doctor says, here, why don't you have this? The hormone system is like a symphony. And you can put on the symphony if a lot of the players don't show up. It sounds better with the French horns, and it sounds better with the string section. If you don't have Zubin Mehta showing up, it's all kind of discordant, so that would be your thyroid, adrenal, cortisol. So HGH is like the kiss. HGH is expensive, and it's determined by lab work if you have a deficiency. It builds bone, it builds muscle, it strengthens the heart, the pumping power of the heart. Once I started adding HGH to the concoction, I don't know, I don't have trouble with my weight. I sleep 8 hours a night. Everything is working as though my body was at its healthiest, optimal prime. Now, athletes overuse it. Athletes use, in many cases, 100 times more than physiologic doses. I use only what my lab work shows as my deficiency. And the lab work that you do is to determine your IGF-1, which is insulin growth factor 1. That's the only way you can determine it. And at different times of the day, it will be different. But my needs are a 0.08, not even 1.
How long have you been taking HGH for?
I went to see Dr. Rice when I was 48, so 12 years.
12 years. So you, wait a minute.
I'm going to be turning 60. Oh, God, I'm saying this on national TV. Oh, my God. I'm going to be turning 60 this summer, June.
You are going to be turning 60.
And I haven't done this yet, either.
You haven't had any facelift or anything? You guys could be sisters. This is your daughter. No. She's 20. How old are you?
She's 23.
23. Mm-hmm. Why did you want to do HGH?
Well, I didn't go in to see Dr. Rice to do HGH. I went in when I was 48 because I was going through perimenopause. I've always kind of thought out of the box, and it just didn't seem right to me to take hormones. Going to the gynecologist, they just wanted to put you on Proverin and HRT, you know, hormone replacement therapy, and I was just always against it. I've always been very natural, which I think is funny now that I'm involved in this little controversy, because to me this is more natural.
Because it's something that the body makes.
It's your body makes it, and so I went to see him because I was having perimenopausal symptoms, foggy thinking, my vitality didn't seem the same, my drive, you know, ambition, everything was calming down a bit.
And since being on it, what do you...
It was like a light switch. I mean, I felt it instantly. I mean, he didn't put me on... At first, I went to him. He checked all my hormones very carefully. It was kind of unusual that I had so little of the human growth hormone. He made a comment to me about it.
In Hollywood, it's all about image.
When people come to you, what are they looking for? Well, they come for generally two reasons. They want to feel better and they want to look better.
Older Hollywood has its own ideas. Suzanne Somers says HGH helped her make 60 the new 40. Sylvester Stallone at 61 defends HGH as a way to reduce physical wear and tear. David Mattingly, CNN, Los Angeles.
Please welcome author of The Life Plan, Dr. Jeffrey Live, to the show. Good to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
You are in amazing shape, yes.
Thank you.
And how old are you again?
I'm 73, coming up on 74.
Oh. And he's showing it all off.
What in your life made you change your lifestyles, your patterns, obviously the things that you weren't doing right?
Well, when I was in my late 50s, well, you saw how I looked. And I was short of breath, climbing steps. I was a horrible example for my patients. My sexual function was crashing. And I just knew I had to make some changes. And entered the Body for Life contest, and that's what got me going. The neat thing is that over the years, the better I get looking, the healthier I am. I mean, it's a win-win. Very few things in life are a win-win. But this is how it's worked out. And it can work out for everybody.
Does your program also include hormone replacements and testosterone and things like that? Because to me, you know, that's pretty controversial, and I'm just curious, you know, how you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important that you do not let your hormones decline. If you're deficient in hormones, you need to get that corrected. It's a losing battle if you, as you age, if your hormones keep going down. You need to fix that.
I think it's so important, you know, touching on that, the hormonal aspect, that anybody, you know, considering making changes like this, you have to do it under the supervision of a doctor who understands.
Under a physician that knows how to do all this.
So I guess the one thing is a lot of people will say, well, how do you achieve a body like you have at age 73? And you do mention supplementing with testosterone. And the controversy, I guess, in medical circles is how high do you go? How much do you replace? Because, again, a lot of men are going to look at your physique and say, oh, my gosh, I could never look like that. And the truth is they couldn't without supplementing. So how do you, where do you draw that line?
Well, my goal for myself and my patients is to get testosterone levels at where a healthy 40-year-old would be. And so it needs to be monitored every 3 or 4 months to make sure that it's right in that range.
So I think what you're saying is high, normal,
By
not
getting
beyond that.
testosterone levels up to a healthy level, it not only makes you look better and feel better, but you're much healthier and you're much less risk for disease.
Well, and an important takeaway point there is if you are a male and all of a sudden you're suffering from unexplained fatigue, you have no sex drive anymore, you should get your testosterone levels checked, and then certainly discuss with your doctor where your levels should be. And your book is called?
The Life Plan. And by the way, I'm giving a copy to everyone here.
Hey, all right. Thanks for joining us.
Now, what don't we have in here that I still take? I take gel form D3. If you can get D3, get it in gel form, all right? Gel tablets. Or if you can get it in liquid, take a liquid extract. We also, in here, is magnesium that I forgot to bring up. Magnesium is to help you with that restless leg syndrome. I was starting to get cramps because I kept my regimen of exercise of walking 30 minutes to 40 minutes a day. I started off with 10 minutes. Next thing you know, I'm at 20. Next thing you know, I'm at a half hour. Next thing you know, then the next thing you know, I'm out there pitching again, throwing baseballs for little leaguers. And then to my 20-year-old son and his friends who didn't believe that I could still throw a baseball 90 miles an hour at 65 years old.
But
so,
that also, I was on Mirapax, which is a prescription medication for restless leg syndrome.
Right, I remember.
And with taking the magnesium and with taking this PowerMine, I no longer take Mirapax.
And it works for you. You don't
correct.
take it.
I do not have any type of restless leg.
You want to go to Walmart, you can get Walmart. This is Spring Valley B Complex, and basically I just shake it up like this, and then eyedropper under the tongue every day, sometimes 3 times a day. Hold it in there as long as you can, as long as you have time to, and then swallow it. Also inside this, go down here and check this out. This is the mother of all antioxidants. This your body makes naturally, but here again, once you're over 25, you need this. If you're under 25, most likely you don't need any of it. This is glutathione. Check it out down here. See what Dr. Oz has to say. See what other surgeons, see what other doctors have to say. This stuff is incredible. Glutathione. The other gel product or liquid product, I would never take this in a powdered form or a tablet form, is coenzyme Q10. I take 600 milligrams a day. Some people take 1,500, some people would take 100. You're better off taking more of this, because basically how it works is in your actual DNA, the coenzyme goes down and more or less lubricates your DNA every day and helps the ends of the DNA, which are, I can't even pronounce it, I think it's called telomerase, something like that. And that's in here. There's a physics professor from New York City College who has done a lot of tests on this stuff, and he explains it a lot better than I can. So all these people down here can explain it better than me. But did I leave anything out that's in here? Now you ladies will still be taking your iron. There's no iron in this thing.
Well, one thing that you need to also know is with coenzyme Q10, it's the latest. What everybody feels is it's a age reversing. The miracle drug of aging reversing.
Well, that and the one that I really left out is the mega resveratrol.
Yeah.
Now that's in here. Not Diane Sawyer. What's her name? Barbara Walters did a special on this, and the guys that invented it were from I think Yale University, and they're waiting for the FDA to give them permission to actually make the claim that by taking X amount of milligrams, we always put 250 milligrams in. If you want to take more, you can. Just take another tablespoon full of this stuff. But this is mega resveratrol. It's down here. Well, everything that I'm saying and what my wife is saying is all backed up down here and links to other educational sites. We're not doctors. My wife has a master's degree in what?
Healthcare administration.
That's where I wanted to get to. Well, when she came off, started taking this stuff, and finally listened to me, she got motivated. Tell them what you did while still holding a full-time job.
I got my associate's degree while I was heading into the nursing program, and then I stopped doing that and went on and got my bachelor's degree in business. And then went on and got my master's degree in healthcare administration. And now,
so you're not a total dummy like me when it comes to this kind of stuff.
No, that's why I smile when I let you talk, because it's backed up by doctors.
And you weren't listening just to me. You went on there and watched the videos on TV that we did, and the interviews that we did, and the other people did. And that's how you became your own judge on that, right?
Correct. And my mother did the same thing.
Mother did the same thing.
I told her to stop taking her cholesterol medication.
She watched
and take the PowerMine. You know, I didn't want my mother to start losing her mind because she watches kids.
Yeah, she watches Dr. Oz all the time.
And she watches different. well, whatever happens, there was an on Dateline 2020, whatever, right. The a proven show told her this is going to make you lose your lose your mind, and she hasn't. We
got a child on it. I wouldn't put my kids and my grandchildren are not on it, and my youngest son Nolan is on it. And in here, down here somewhere, you can see what it's done for him. He's a world-class athlete. He would have been that anyway, most likely, but this gives him an edge. And you can go down here and watch. He's a boxer. He's still an amateur. They want to be a professional boxer. But what I do, folks, is I make mine up. I just got a cranberry juice. I mix mine with all kind of crazy stuff because it tastes good in just about anything. You can mix it with Coca-Cola. You can mix it with Diet Pepper. You can mix it with anything you want to mix it with. And it tastes great. I like cranberry juice, so I make my weekly supply up. This is 110 ounces right here. I'll make her batch of what she wants, myself a batch of this with cranberry juice in it.
And you put your little black tape across the bottle so that we know that
exactly.
was yours, right?
It is mine. You're right. See the black tape she's referring to?
So we know that's his.
Now, having said that, this is all you really have to do. You take just I don't want this one here because this one. This one doesn't have all the stuff in it. This is just power meat. This here has all the stuff in it. It's a little bit different color to it. Here's what you do. You just take this. You can put it in the glass. Put water. You should put the water in first. I got that a little backwards. All right, and you can stir it up. Now, if you do it this way, it takes a while because these are all pure and they're all floating. You can't really see it now. They're all just floating on the top there. What I do when I mix this stuff up, you just saw me shaking this, because sometimes some of the amino acids, saw palmetto is in here as well, for prostate men with your prostate. I'll put saw palmetto in that mix of the Paramine Plus. And I'll shake it up a little bit, because if you don't, you'll see the stuff collect on the bottom. That's all it took was one or two shakes and it's all mixed up again. But basically when I start out, pardon me 1 second, let me get in here. I just take, I bought one of these Ninja deals. I think it was like 40 bucks. And you just simply, I like putting in there. You can see all the amino acids still in there. See that? So man, that's money. And I ain't leaving anything behind. I'm not leaving any prisoners or hostages. So now it's all gone, all right? So then I just simply take the blender, but I do this all in one day and then I pour it all in this thing. So I'm ready, I'm good for the week. Now, I just put that on there like that. This is all it takes. And that's about it. That's about it. So you can put ice in it if you want.
That's how I like to do mine. I like to drink them with the margarita glasses and the crushed ice.
We call this flavor, what do we call this again? Unbelievable. Yes. We call this flavor unbelievable because you do not taste any amino acids. It's cherry and citrus together.
Which he said did not work, and it did.
It was her idea. Now, I don't want to get this away from this out.
Now, remember, well, you don't have to remember, but I'm a very, very picky person. I don't like drinking flavored coffees, and this is unbelievable.
Has a cherry citrus, and that's what we named it, unbelievable. So now, what I want to do, that's actually what I want to do. In our next segment, folks, we're going to be showing, we're going to make some smoothies and see how they taste. We've never done that. We made ice smoothies with this, but we've never added anything but cranberry juice. I don't think we've ever used anything but cranberry juice, have we?
No.
So we get diet-free cranberry juice. By the way, this has absolutely no calorie. Zero. It's all sugar-free.
Has to be.
So, having said that, now we're going to make some smoothies. Right after this break.